It's another edition of Time About the Movies. We enter the month of May 1990. We're not quite at the summer movie season yet because we're still in that time period where the summer movie season doesn't start until Memorial Day weekend. But we do have some movies to talk about here, and unlike like a couple weeks ago, these are movies that I have not seen, but some of them I am aware of. But these are going to be quick reviews again today because I really don't know too much about most of these movies. So let's go ahead and get right to it. We got 7 movies to look at today. Let's start with the biggest new release of this weekend, and that was Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. Based off of the anthology horror series of the 1980s, Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, kind of is pretty much like a Creepshow movie, kind of. I mean, there was even a story in here, The Cat from Hell, which was actually supposed to be in Creepshow 2, but they dropped that because of production budget concerns. But, I mean, it looks like a movie like Creepshow, kind of. It is kind of a horror comedy-esque type of movie. You have these 3 stories, all written by George Romero and Michael McDowell, based off of the works of Stephen King and Arthur Conan Doyle. And, like I said, I haven't seen this movie before, or these stories before, but it doesn't look too bad. But it does look very similar to Creepshow. I think that was maybe why this movie didn't have too much of a lasting impact after its initial release, because everyone saw it and it was just like, well, this is just like Creepshow. It's basically kind of the same concept as Creepshow, and even somewhat of the Twilight Zone movie from '83. But I mean, I don't know. It could be decent, but I haven't heard a lot of people really talk about this one too much. But even it does have a cult following because it did get a Scream Factory Blu-ray release, and usually that means something. But yeah, like I said, I haven't seen this movie, so I can't really comment on them too much. But it's got a lot of Creepshow vibes to it, to me at least. So that's Tales from the Dark Side of the movie. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie. So imagine combining the concept of Last Holiday to an action buddy cop movie. I mean, that's pretty much the best way to describe this movie. And this movie, I haven't heard too many good things about this movie, but I like the premise of this movie. I like this idea that Dabney Coleman plays this police officer who thinks he has so much little time to live that he decides to kill himself to make sure that he gets his family insurance before his retirement. But like I said, I haven't heard too many good things about this movie. This movie doesn't have too much of a following since its release. But I am curious about it. I've heard some mixed things about it, but it's a movie that I feel like maybe took a good concept, but didn't go 100% with it. Like, they only took some of the good ideas that they would have had with it, and maybe it could have worked on that level, but I don't think it's a movie that really took all those ideas, this great idea that they had, and went all the way with it. That's what I'm getting from this trailer, at least and from the reviews that I've heard about it. But I don't know, maybe one day I'll definitely check it out. It is something that has piqued my interest a little bit. Short time, so that's that one. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie. I mean, it's got a pretty good cast to it, but I never even heard anything about this movie. I mean, I know most of the actors in this movie: Beau Bridges, Beverly D'Angelo, Judge Reinhold, Tess Harper, Keith Carradine. But as far as the movie itself goes, I haven't heard too many things about it. I haven't heard if it's that good or not. You can't really look for any reviews for it on Rotten Tomatoes, but it could be decent. I mean, it could be a decent movie. I don't know if it's even based off of a play or anything, or it's just an original script, but first thoughts on it, could be interesting, but it's not something I'm going to rush out to see, quite honestly. So, quick thoughts on Daddy Stein, Who's Got the Will. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and I'm actually going to give you the title this time around. It's Last Exit to Brooklyn. This is based off of a 1964 bestseller by Hubert Selby Jr., and it follows the difficult life of unionized workers, prostitutes, and drag queens working in Brooklyn. It includes stuff like drugs, crime, and violence. Like I said, I haven't seen this movie. It's got a good cast to it. Stephen Legg, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Burt Young, Jerry Orbach, Stephen Baldwin, Sam Rockwell's in this, Ricky Lake. So, and I've heard some good things about it. So, and it could be good. It's a movie that it could be good, but it's a movie that doesn't really click with me right away. Like, I don't know what the main premise is and what the purpose of going on here with this movie so far, judging from this first trailer. Some interesting notes about this. Ralph Bakshi actually wanted to do a live action film version of this, but he couldn't get the rights to him. And I think he also wanted Robert De Niro to play the role of Harry in this movie, but that never happened. But other than that, though, this movie has some potential. It's not one, like I said, I'm going to rush out to see, but I don't know. I'll give it a shot maybe when I get a chance to see it. So let's go ahead and go on to the next movie, and that is Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down. This movie is notable for a number of reasons. Pedro Almodovar directed this movie. It also had a young Antonio Banderas and also starred Victoria April. But most importantly, I should say, this movie was one of the last movies to have an X rating before the MPAA officially decided to go with an NC-17 rating. What happened was Miramax wanted the movie to get a proper rating and wanted to get but they slapped an X rating on it. And while Miramax lost the case in court, it actually led to numerous filmmakers complaining about the X rating, and then the MPAA, just about a couple months after this movie's release, decided to change the X rating from that to an NC-17 rating. And the first movie to do that was Henry and June, but we'll talk more about that when we get to September of '90. But notable piece of history there. This was the last movie to get an X rating before the MPAA decided on a new NC-17 rating. So there's that interesting fact right there. As far as the movie itself goes, it looks like what you'd expect from Pedro Almodovar. It looks like a movie that fits right into his style. And like I said, I haven't seen it, but it's Pedro Almodovar. Most of his movies have been pretty solid, so I expect this one to be just as good, especially since this is one of his earliest works. So that's my quick trailer thoughts on Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down. On to the next movie, and that is Happy Together. Which basically just looks like the pilot to a failed TV series. I mean, that's pretty much what this movie looks like. There's nothing about this movie that really says this deserves to be seen on a big screen. It does look like a movie that you might see it on TV or be the pilot for a new series or something like that. I mean, it could be good. Patrick Dempsey, Helen Slater are two young actors working together in this. You also have Dan Snyder from Head of the Class. You also have Brad Pitt in an early role here. But, yeah, just for that trailer alone, it definitely feels more like a TV pilot than an actual movie. I mean, who knows? The movie might actually be good, but all I'm seeing is TV pilot quality here, at least in my opinion. So, let's go ahead and move on to the last movie, and that is The Feud. I actually had a really hard time finding a clip for this movie. You can tell that clip right there is from I believe it was like a Spanish version or a French version of the trailer. You could hear the actual trailer in English underneath the dubbed audio that they had there. I don't know which language it is off the top of my head, but what happens is a guy enters another guy's hardware shop with a cigarette lit and ignores the no smoking store policy, and this turns into a feud between the two families. But not all the members of the family hate each other. And again, just like with Happy Together, that doesn't really sound like a concept that's worthy of a feature-length film, unless you're going to take it to the nth level. Like, you're going to take it to something like a Neighbors type of level or something like that. But I don't think this movie is going to do any of that. I don't think it's a movie that does that in particular. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this one, so I can't really comment on it. Can't really say anything about it in particular. I'll just say the same thing I said with Happy Together. I think it just looks like a TV pilot blown up for the big screen. Unless someone tells me that's actually a decent movie, but I don't know if anybody's going to, honestly. So with that said, that's going to wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time around, we do the same thing all over again. 5 movies come out. Most of them I've never even heard of, so going to be judging from the trailers alone. We have Class of 1999, A Show of Force, Death by Temptation, Longtime Companion, and Pathfinder. So we'll deal with those movies on Sunday when we come back and do another one of these. And tomorrow, of course, we'll have a new Movie Stop episode to look at. So, anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, check out the playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for another... Well, actually, I won't see you tomorrow for another new time about the movies. That'll be Sunday. I'll see you Sunday for a new time about the movies. I'll see you tomorrow for a new Movie Stop episode. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time. And until then, take care.